Welcome back. There are 9 more holes in this major championship here out at Winthrop University. You found Jamie and the Champ here on SpinTV. Shout out to Innova Discs and the championship itself for making all of this coverage possible. All right, Champ, this has been a very interesting championship for many reasons, but one we've seen not a whole lot of push on the lead card. It seems like there's some kind of hex over the players once they achieve lead card status.
Yeah, I think that hex is called pressure of a major championship. And anybody who's been there has felt it and knows exactly what we're talking about. And those of you who haven't, practice up. You might get there one day and be able to feel that feeling yourself.
And certainly nobody is blemish-free. James Conrad is bogey-free, but not mistake-free, and that seems to be good enough so far to extend his lead 9 holes in. Let's go to hole 10. This is the hole where we can see moves being made. Eagles abound. Lots of possibility here.
Definitely a good hole to make up some strokes with a great shot off the tee to this hole, but playing into the headwind today, only the biggest of bombers will probably end up going for this one. Everybody else I see throwing over to the left, but if you've got the heart and you've got the right disc, give it a rip. You might just get there.
We have a couple big bombers on the card, one with a clipped wing, an Eagle McMahon. Albert Tamm definitely has the power. Does he have the will? James Conrad wants no part of it.
I think James could reach this hole if he wanted to, but at this point in the stage of proceedings, he's leading, and a nice easy birdie is what he's looking for, just to put one more under par on that scorecard.
Again, like you're saying, pressure seems to be getting to the rest of his cards, so all he has to do is play steady. Nathan Queen's in a really nice layup spot there, though.
And he just barely squeaked over that line there to give himself an inbounds green flag.
Oh, here we go. Ripping it over the corner of the tennis courts, needing some fade.
That looks beautiful.
Ooh, the crowd loves it. Let's spin that back one more time. Look at this full commitment right there.
You see how his body is pointing the other way when he was finished throwing? That's how you get the most out of your disc. If you're facing to the left when you're starting your run up, you're going to be facing to the right when you're finished with your throw to get the max distance.
And he is going to get maximum reward for that effort. That's an easy eagle look. And here's an eagle trying to get an easy birdie.
Well, that's slapped down off a tree, and it looks to be in bounds.
And he's going to go forehand once again. If you haven't seen the front 9, we talked about it a little bit. He's got a boxer's fracture in the right hand, so he is without the backhand pretty much for the rest of this round.
He made that shot look easy. Fracture or not, that was on point.
He did call it the United States Sidearm Championships in an interview early on in the week, so here's his opportunity to prove it. James Conrad doesn't need a sidearm. He's just throwing straight at things.
Yeah, I think it's more the accuracy championships. It doesn't really matter which way you throw it. It's just as long as you throw it in bounds out here and keep yourself afloat.
So far, Conrad would agree. Nathan Queen taking his meter.
That was sawed off, weak, and just not a good effort. Being on the lead card in the final round of a major, you've got to commit a little more than that.
Here he is throwing his 4th.
There's commitment there. He's got it out to the left. It's still coming up touch on the short side, but skipping into the larger portion of the green.
He's found his putt in the last few holes. Let's see if he can ride this momentum. He'll need it.
Still outside the circle there, and after you've thrown an OB, you really want to get that next one close so you don't have to putt just to guarantee that score.
Oh, Conrad, that's a bad miss.
Might have had a little wind in his face on that one to help lift, but yeah, you'd expect him to draw some metal from there. Flag wasn't moving too much.
Not normally somebody you see miss high. His mistake is usually low with the way he just kind of line drives his putt behind his body, or in front of his body.
That's a very good point Jamie makes. Use your body weight and its momentum to help your putt go in the direction you want it to go.
Eagle, birdie, Albert, eagle.
Tap in eagle at that.
Wow, right on the pink basket. And there's Nathan.
big changes this year. The biggest come from holes 1 and 2 are no more. Now the opening to Winthrop Gold will be handled by holes 3 and 4 last year, which are holes 1 and 2 this year. The course has a bit more bite than ever from the start.
On the tee of hole 11, the competitor really needs to have his or her game plan. There's a lot of different ways to tackle and beat hole 11, but you want to know what you're going to do before you do it. You can play short left, middle right, or really get super aggressive off the tee. And either one of those can work, but you got to commit to whichever plan you want to do. Because if you go out off the drive, you'll go to the drop zone. And then as you get close into the green, it's been tightened up a little bit this year on the left side. So accuracy is a super premium, especially in the wind. And there will definitely be wind on number 11.
Prophetic words from Harold right there, because the drop zone is not a place you want to find yourself in the wind.
And we haven't seen much wind out here this week, but today is a different story. There's definitely some wind, and it's into the player's face on this hole. And the Bazooka is choosing to lay up here. And you think that might have been because he eagled the last hole and doesn't want to give something up, because it seems like he could have just blasted it over to that second landing area and had a fairly easy birdie look with the distance he was showing earlier.
Yeah, it certainly seems like he's trying to play poker, though it's an interesting spot to do that. Because here's James. He just says, all right, I'll go for it.
He's turned it over quite a bit. And that headwind's not going to let it come back. Watch out, crowd. Caught that tree and fluffed out a little bit. Looks like it might have caught that right side hazard.
Yeah, and maybe Tom's got a point there, because, again, James Conrad, with only a backhand to go to the green here.
This needs to get up. He's going to hit just short of that line, and there's an uphill slope there, and your disc does not want to climb the hill right there unless it has massive speed. Once it's been out there about 400 feet, it doesn't have that much speed left on it. That hill gobbles it up.
Nathan, he knows he's better than that. He's shown he's better than that throughout this week. It's just, like you're saying, that pressure.
This is heading over towards that right side, and that's found the hazard as well.
Yeah, a little bit of a high delivery. Needed to kind of punch that lower down the hill to keep it out of the hazard. Let's see. This kind of looks like a layup as well.
Yeah, he's using a little bit more of the hill to stop the disc and a much lower shot so it wouldn't get away from him to the right.
And there's that headwind like we've been talking about that he may have just made the calculation that he can't get all the way there. This shot right here, though.
Trusty putter comes in there and stops. See how quick that bit? That's on a dead side slope. A little short, but inbounds, and gives him a look at it.
And again, kind of proving Albert right in that decision to lay it up, because we just saw James miss high, and now he's going to have to deal with a longer putt than that in a headwind. Nathan not too much closer himself.
Well, here's the payoff shot for laying it up. You must have the third shot be really accurate if you're going to lay up, because you don't want to leave yourself a long putt on this hole, especially from above the basket. That's one of the worst misses there, is leaving it too far away above the hole.
Yeah, eagle, there you go. He puts it out to the left of the pin, brings it back in. Nicely done.
That's more like what you're looking to see on this hole after you've laid up. Right under the basket, easy tap it.
11 meters for Conrad. Got that one.
With authority. Didn't ever let it get higher than the band and just punched it in there.
That's a pretty clutch putt right there with less than 9 holes to play.
Following his theme of the day, it seems like, just not quite committing to the height on the release, and that could be like a half an inch difference out of your hand where you release it on it when your arm is swinging up and forward.
Ooh, just getting it to go there. That was, all of a sudden, a lot of pressure reversed itself and put itself back on Albert with James hitting that big putt.
Flipping the script, that's what we call it out there, and it's nice to do that and put the pressure right back on the other guy when he was trying to do it to you with the layup.
Who was the most fun to kind of do that and battle mentally with? in the heyday, champ?
I think I had some of my most epic fun battles with Steve Valencia back in the early days, and he was a lefty, I was righty, so it was like just polar opposites of each other. He would throw the bullet putt, I would throw the lofty soft putt, and we just had great fun out there.
Hole number 12. Wow, that's a name. Steve Valencia. Hole 12. 901 feet on this one. We've seen some 600 plus foot bombs, but we're probably not going to see that today in these conditions. And with the situation we're in right now, again, throwing down into that bowl up front leaves a pretty blind hyzer for either hand into the green. Just got to know your distance. Albert.
Yeah, this is a hole I would expect him to be going for, because it doesn't buy you much to lay up. If you've got the big gun, you might as well go ahead and go for it. It's the only way you're going to make the birdie. And if you've got the gun, there's a bigger landing area out there for the big guns, which he has found the skinniest part of the fairway. And maybe that might be a testament to the wind we're talking about today. It's not letting them get that long drive.
He certainly looked like he committed fully to it. Didn't quite get the distance he wanted.
And that's over early. It needs to stay up and go. And he's got a nice skip out of it, but just riding near the line, he's shaking his head no, as if he knows it's in the penalty area.
And that's 2 in a row with that same disc, getting it overturned in the wind, not fading back.
You know, he's only missing that shot by a tiny fraction, 2 degrees or something. And
all right, eagle, very short on that layup.
another very safe play from Mr. McMahon. He looks content with just plodding around the course and taking pars at this point.
He does have major titles under his belt, but the U.S. Championship obviously is not one of them. So at this point, you wonder if he's thinking about that automatic qualifying bid with that top 10 finish.
This is a tough nut to crack. A lot of good players have given it runs out here and come up short.
And there's Eagle playing position golf.
Right where you want to be, on the upslope where you can see the basket.
Nathan veering towards that left side.
Yes, better watch out, gallery. And he's a bit fortunate to have it fade in just at the right time to stay in bounds and have a nice, easy look at the basket where you can probably see the bottom of the basket from there.
And Albert, from a little back of the drop zone, he didn't look like he put enough on that.
That was lackluster for sure, and sure enough, it comes up well short.
Yeah,
that wasn't even close.
Really casual. He even asked for it to go almost as soon as he threw it. And this looks like more of the same to me.
Yeah, it looked like he just didn't give it that pop, that speed pop right at the end.
And like we were talking about yesterday, that difference between 90 and 100%, that may be the difference between a birdie look and OB stroke and distance.
Twice in a row. In this case, he's got to make sure he gets it in. He's played that high and left. I think that's just to make sure he gets it in bounds this time, but that's going to leave a super long look with a basket that's not so friendly.
Yeah, kind of making a mess out of this hole when he really could have used to pick up some strokes on these last two holes with the leader, James Conrad, throwing out of bounds twice in a row.
Look at that thing just stand up. Had good hyzer on it, but it just stood up, and got almost flat and came in there and gives himself a good look for par after making a mistake off the tee.
He really is sticking to his game plan. He's throwing those hyzer flips, throwing the straighter lines, not really worried about swinging the hyzer very much.
And here's Eagle with a deft approach here. He's going to swing it out over the inbounds area, which is going to give him ability to skip the disc in there, which is really nice.
Yeah, good work for par. And again, that gained strokes on the field.
Oh, just no thought process there, just immediate layup. And that's gonna net him in a fairly large number.
And there's a good strong side stick from Nathan Queen. That's going to be for a par.
Celebratory.
He's gotten off that bogey slide. He went bogey, then double, then bogey in his last three holes. So having a good white number on the UDisc score sheet, not too bad in that moment.
That's a large pickup for James there. When you make a mistake and still come walk off with par.
Good par for Eagle as well. And then Albert Wow, doubling up any two of his competitors. He's going to take an 8. Snowman.
On the tee of 13, the competitor, again, really needs to have a strategy because the fairway gets narrower and narrower, and you want to challenge it if you're going to go for that Winthrop Eagle. And that's possible not only to the A location, but the B location especially. We've moved it from the long location to the shortest one. But for some reason, historically, this short position really causes the players a lot of challenges, and they have to really plan differently. So as they tee off, they want to be not just thinking about getting in bounds, but eventually where the journey ends on the island green.
The infamous island green of hole 888 at the Winthrop Arena.
If you have not seen the heroics from Nico Castro yesterday, definitely go check that out. Don't think we're going to see the same today.
Oh, that's a little low and slides across, and that's got to be a little wind pushing across left to right there for him to be able to do that. You'd think with the bit of a lead that he has, he'd play a little bit more left side on this hole. Just take that OB out of play.
Yeah, and he looks a little flustered there because, again, same disc, 3 holes in a row, overturning into OB. That's not the direction you want to be going right now.
That's some of the thickest stuff on the whole course there. And he'll be lucky to find that disc.
He may be one of the only pros that's gone up there this week.
Nathan's kind of done the same thing, but it's coming out of it. He's definitely hyzering back into the fairway, just a little bit left and shorter where he was looking for.
And he's just trying to find anything, just trying to string 2 good shots together in a row right now. Stop this slide. He has not birdied since hole 6.
Once again, the right-hand backhand getting down low on the right side, but that one had enough edge on it to fight back into the wind.
Yeah, that's a good move by Tamm, keeping that nice and overstable. Let it fade away. And
Eagle on a bit of safari over here on the left side of hole 13.
yeah, these are taller than he is.
And that's just a pitch out. That's all you can do from there. Really no way to make an arm swing through that thicket.
Here's second shot from Nathan Queen. Ooh.
He's pulled that one over, and he's getting a bit of a break by brushing off the branches there and getting around the cedar tree and staying on top of that OB line and where the pit is right next to that. That was a bit fortunate.
Yeah, wall riding a line of trees. I don't know how you teach a disc to do that.
Here's James after his OB shot, throwing 3, trying to get up into the preferred landing area, try and save par on this long, tough par 5.
Wow, that is a fantastic turnover shot right there. That's indicative of the strength of his game.
Yeah, this shot plays a little uphill, the second shot here, so plays a little longer than its distance. And that's just super, all the way down, almost to the curb. You couldn't walk it down there and place it any better.
He is managing without the backhand so far. Not too bad. Here's Albert with a forehand. Good dodge, Stan.
He's got him on his toes over there, and he's got deep into that landing area. And he'll have options from there with one tree kind of guarding the basket from where he's at.
Nathan looking to capitalize on that bit of luck on his second shot.
Had to keep it low under the early limbs there, which made him get it nice and flat and let the stability of the disc come back to the basket. And hopefully he can get on a roll here. He's starting to loosen up, it looks like.
Yeah, double horns from Nathan Queen. He's got a birdie look for first time in what feels like a long time.
James, super important shot after having the OB stroke early. And he's got a lot of speed on that one, but being a putter, it grabs the ground quickly and doesn't slide that extra 4 feet.
Wow, once again, not afraid of that OB on the right, which would be stroke and distance. Just taking the putter, go for it.
If you have really supreme confidence in a certain disc, that's the one you should be using. If it's working for you and it's doing its job and you've got confidence in it, why not?
Yeah, never tell me the odds. Eagle, all right, 7-8 meters left.
You would expect that to skip into the right, but it took a little bit of a weird jump there and just left him about the same distance as where it hit.
Albert, good deep stretch on that straddle putt.
Yeah, that was a nice putt, solid. He definitely has no layup in his putting game. He goes right after those chains.
Yeah, he is the youngest member of this card. Eagle pulling a James Conrad from a few holes ago and thanking the flagstick.
Very seldomly seen miss from. It looks like he rolled his wrist over a little bit there, and the disc wanted to fly a little lower and down to the right of where it normally would out of his hand.
Conrad, not a player that usually shows that the nerves are getting to him. He's usually really steady, and again, he's been in this position before, but even for a player like him, you're starting to see a little bit of these nerves creep in, a little bit less accurate with the putter, but at the same time, his card not able to really punish him for it.
Yeah, he's not really getting much pressure from his card mates. We'll have to check the scores later down the stretch and see if any of the other cards are pushing him at all.
And of course, our friends over at Jomez Pro have the chase card coverage, so you can watch here, then check out over there, see what's going on back on that card. All right, hole 14 has been a whole lot of fun this whole week. You see downhill, over 400 feet, hay bales to the left, hazard all around, elevated pin, a skippy sidewalk to the right. I mean, what else can you ask for?
This green area has a lot going on with it. They've added the bales in, they've tightened the lineup, and the sidewalk's always there, waiting for a disc to hit. Give it a good skip.
Nathan looks like he's going to drop this hyzer right on it. Yeah, let's see that one more time. He's starting to wake up. It might be too late to win this thing, but he's certainly trying to get that automatic invite like Eagle.
That's a pretty nice throw if you like birdies.
Here is Albert. Big forehand on the way. High forehand on the way.
A little too high, a little too soft, and he caught a little bit of that sidewalk, and instead of getting the big skip off the sidewalk, it gets a giant roll. That's a little unusual.
Yeah, that is not something that I expected to see there, and not something he wants to see there.
That's going to leave him a long look from outside the circle 2 there.
And James Conrad with what else? A putter.
A putter, 413 feet, and that's within 8 feet, folks.
I mean, look at this. That is such a clean release, just riding a little bit on the turnover, and just a bit of fade.
There is a nice tailwind on this hole today, so it allows you to throw a little less this than you normally would on this hole, and it is downhill, so.
Supreme trust in his plastic.
Yes, and he also noticed there was a little bit of turnover on that shot, pulling it away from the hazard area on the left. Oh!
Eagle McMahon, he doesn't need a backhand. He only needs half of his game right now, and he's still about to put this thing in the basket.
Wow. Just another couple inches higher, and that probably would have stuck because it looked like it was dead center.
Oh, man. You love to see him having fun, and, what else can you do at this point? Just try to give the crowd a show.
And he's doing just that. Some big sidearms out there. A little jump layup. Still out. Those tee shots were so good. A layup is still outside the tee shots.
Wow. I mean, we spun it back 3 times on one hole. I don't know that I've ever seen that on SpinTV before. Great show on 14 for the entire gallery as the holes begin to run out for the rest of the card. James Conrad, just as the holes tick away, higher and higher percentage chance here that he's going to be your winner, but you never know.
Standing on the tee of 15, the player sees the triple mandatory. But they don't just see that, they see the sunlight beyond the triple mandatory. And they want to throw to the sun. They want it so bad because they want that birdie coming down the stretch, and they want to challenge that triple mandatory. For those who do and don't make it, we've changed the drop zone this year, and they can actually save par if they do miss the mandatory. But like everywhere else on the Winthrop Arena course, that new drop zone is not easy. If they go for the birdie, they might miss it and actually be on their way to a double bogey. So birdie, par, bogey, or double bogey are all waiting on number 15.
Also waiting on number 15, our lead card, as the chase card has moved on to the gettable 16th hole. And there's some movement going on. We'll go ahead and tell you here.
That was smashed right up the gut, finishing a little to the right, but staying in the open area. It's going to give Nate a good look at birdie if he throws a halfway decent second shot there.
Very technical backhand there, Conrad.
This is early left, never got it turned over, never got it in line with the fairway, and he's caught the stuff on the left-hand side well short of the Mando.
Sometimes you got to be good like he was on 14. Sometimes you got to be lucky like he was right there.
He's hoping that didn't filter in to the left side there. If he gets in there 3 or 4 or 5 feet, it's going to make that next shot very tough. If he's on the edge, it'll be doable.
An eagle going all the way to the back corner of the fairway. Not a whole lot of drives find their way there. Albert just misses right.
Just a bit of a grip block. Timing was off a little bit, and he'll be heading to the drop zone. James has found the edge here and pulled off a nice little skip shot, and man, he has put that in a great spot.
That's fantastic positioning for that awkward footing, and kind of make sure he has to fall right.
And as we saw Eagle do the other day, it looks like he's lining up over the top spike hyzer approach from the drop zone, and just quite didn't get it high enough. Those trees are really tall, and they're fairly close to that spot. You have to jack that way up early to get it over those trees, and he didn't quite get it up enough.
And he did get it through the trees at least, so he can go more of a low line into the green.
And the miss here into this green is left side. If you're going to miss this basket when throwing towards it, you need to miss it to the left because it's far more open over there.
Here's Eagle.
Oh, he tried to miss it to the left side, but it blasted right through everything, and it's found the back side of that green, which is really treacherous. Lots of trees back there.
Again, that overstable plastic he's got to use for his powerful forehand. Again, nobody really getting left enough to get that, confident putt. These are kind of knee knockers here.
Yeah, it is super wide open on the left side. I don't understand why they're throwing it right at the basket when they could throw it 15 feet to the left of the basket and have a wide open putt. No need to be firing directly at this basket unless you've just got the perfect opening. James, he did have the perfect opening.
Yeah, sometimes you just get caught staring at the chains. Eagle outside circle 1. Little window.
Little camera frame's cool right through. Oh, he had the window, but just not quite enough open space to make it into the chains.
Albert from a big straddle.
Comes up a little short.
Here's another window for Nathan Queen.
Oh.
Yeah, that's tough.
Yeah, that putt would have been a little easier if he was right-handed. He would have been able to drop it over that stalk of the tree.
James rewarded with an open putt there.
Left side low, but it sticks.
And those are moments when you have to capitalize. I mean, he was able to get that birdie on 14, dig himself out of the hole on 15, and that just makes him that much harder to catch, even with 17 and 18 still looming.
Yeah, with the few mistakes he's made, he's only coughed up 1 bogey, so he's cleaned up pretty well afterwards.
Down here to hole 16. Now, this is a hole that has changed with the development of the forehand game. A lot of the players opting for that left to right swing around the outside, but traditional play, Champ, right where the camera's flying through.
Yeah, as you called it, the counterclockwise spin players can hit in the hazard area and skip back inbounds, where if you're throwing a backhand right-hand drive, there's no area to come skipping in. If you go towards the basket and skip, you're skipping into the hazard area. So it definitely plays a little easier with the left to right approach.
Nice follow through there from Nathan Queen. Is it long enough?
Just a touch short, but he should be able to work with that. Inside the circle, it looks like.
And James Conrad, this looks like a down the middle play. Although he does have that turnover dialed pretty well.
Yeah, I think at this point you just want to keep it on the straight and narrow and not so high. Yep, keep it low, throw it straight, and let it hit the ground and slide a little bit.
Look at the spin. Look at the RPMs on this disc. It slides, but it wasn't quite high enough to make it all the way to the pin.
And that could have been his game plan. Just throw it into that area where there's no lines to be worried about. And if you're going to make a birdie, sometimes you have to make it with a long putt. It's not always with the drive.
And again, with the chase card on 17, big numbers are possible. All the way from 2s to 8s to even higher have been seen in this tournament.
Oh, I've seen a 21 on that hole, witnessed it personally, and it was not pretty. The guy ran out of discs and basically had to run down and pick up a disc or two of his own and come back to the tee to finish the hole.
Oh my goodness. His score is old enough to drink.
It was. I think everybody that witnessed it wanted a drink right after that, too.
Yeah, I hope somebody bought him a beer in that moment because he certainly deserved it. Here's Conrad, and look, cameras are going up behind him. I think people are starting to figure out what this putt means.
Yeah, there's a sea of media back there and trying to catch him if he makes this one. It's a little low, and
again, no damage. Conrad said he was just hoping to have a 4-stroke cushion going into the island. He said that would make him feel comfortable. And he's got more than that on his card, but the question is, what is the chase card doing?
Somebody's got to be doing something back there.
Good putt from Nathan Queen. I mean, he's really had a rough go of it, but he's birdied 3 out of the last 4 holes.
He's coming on strong at the end and trying to get into that guaranteed qualification for next year and top 10 finisher.
And there's Albert Tamm for his par.
Two-handed putt.
Ooh, hey, just make sure it goes in.
Oh, little trickery there. Caught it. Move on. Kevin McCoy from Innova Discs. Paige Pierce walking with the tournament leader at this point. Long walk down to 17.
So the player has just completed hole 16, and they have a long walk from 16 to 17. And that walk is part of the design. It gives the player a chance to think about the most important hole in their whole round. They've worked so hard, and they can be a hero or disaster can wait on hole 17. And hole 17 is perhaps the most famous hole in disc golf because it gives players a chance to be spectacular or to have a spectacular disaster. But either way, the players are living life as they're on the tee pad of hole 17 like they've never been before.
Well, we have seen leaders rise and leaders fall on this tee pad. Luckily, James Conrad does not have to go first. It is going to be Nathan Queen.
Though he won't get much of a read because Nathan's throwing a left-handed backhand shot, and it wasn't well thrown either. Very short. Even the skip didn't even get to the bails.
Yeah, almost looked like he was going for a skip there, but kind of surprised it wasn't faster or more overstable disc in his hand.
Yeah, throughout the years, seeing many players throw out of bounds on this hole, the tendency is to miss short more than long. So if these players know that, they'll commit a little bit more and put a little bit more speed on their disc. And I believe it's playing a bit into a cross headwind today, which makes you have to throw it a little bit harder to get there anyway.
And James is going to go with the putter, and this is the most dangerous play on this hole here.
Oh, he's caught an early leaf, and that usually means disaster. Sure enough, well short.
Once again, just like Chris Clemens yesterday, your tournament leader coming into this hole, he is not going to be under par on it. This is going to be his 3rd shot here. Bogey at best, unless he can throw it in.
Looks like he's turned that one over, and if the wind beats on it like it normally does when you turn it over, it comes up short again. This is hands on the head, kind of akin to Johnny McRae after he's missed a couple times, hands straight to the head, and not much more you can do here, but just kind of ask yourself, do you want to win this? Let's put it on the green here.
This is James Conrad. If he can't get on the island here, he could be in big trouble.
Oh, by less than a foot over top of those bails, but does successfully find the green.
And the situation on the chase card is getting even more interesting. James Conrad has thrown 3 shots out of bounds. He has players on his heels.
Oh, that didn't get there either. Wow. There must be a really strong wind pushing to the right there because that thing just fell out of the sky to the right.
And again, this low ceiling forces the players to really commit to throwing it at the water. And it also, the protected nature of it means you can't get a good wind read unless you walk out and really feel it.
It does tend to swirl and gust in this area. You're down in the valley of the lake and there's hills around you, so you're right, Jamie. It's hard to get a read on this hole.
And Albert finally getting it onto the island on the third try.
249 feet, folks. This hole is playing super tough right now.
And there's Eagle. Good number. Out wide to the side you need to be.
And that's how you do it. If you're trying to get just on the island to make a 3 on this hole, trying to preserve some type of lead at the end, just throw it to the backside, right side of the island. Don't just try and make it barely over the bails. Get it out into that backside, and you'll have a lot better success rate.
And this will be James Conrad for his 6th, I believe.
Left it a little wide, expected the wind to maybe lift it and bring it in, and he's going to have to settle for a quadruple bogey there.
And he's just got to wonder, what is the chase card doing on 18? Because right now he's dropping back to 19 under par. And that is, I mean, he was the only player in the field in the 20s under par, and all of a sudden that has been erased.
Definitely let quite a few players back into the mix with that.
Great putt there from Nathan Queen. He's going to salvage a bogey out of that.
Eagle carding the lone par on this hole, and out of a lead group, you wouldn't think you'd be saying that on a 249-foot hole.
No, they are a whole bunch of strokes over par as a group, and there is one more grueling hole left to play. So at this point, with this hole that we're flying over right now, James Conrad, 19 under par. Nico LaCastro, 18 under par. Jeremy Colling has found his way to 18 under par, and Chris Clemens is up by the green with a Circle 2 bid to go to 18 under par. If James Conrad takes a bogey on this hole, we are headed to a 4-way playoff with 2 of those players already having this title under their belt.
And they are already in the clubhouse. Their scores are finished, so they're guaranteed 18 under par. I think Chris still has a putt left, as you said, to get to that number. And this is ripped.
Wow. Injured or not, that is a smash.
That is unbelievable. I'd like to see if he's going to throw sidearm on that next shot, because it's a really tough sidearm shot from there.
And here is Nathan. Just got to find his way into the top 10. Just get out of here with a par or better. The top 10 line, as it is at 11 under par right now. Nathan Queen sitting at 14. So, barring disaster, he's going to earn himself an invite.
There's James with that same putter, and this looks like it's a nice, smooth, low drive, just going for an inbounds landing. And gets a little curl roll, but that's okay, because he's down by that little bowl where there's some good flat footing.
He trusts that putter like he's done all day. It's his comfort, and I think he knows the situation if that's the disc he chose.
He definitely wasn't pressing it with anything there by throwing the putter. He's just trying to land in bounds, and then he can make a decision when he gets up there and see what he needs to do. And that's another great drive right up the middle, and that'll be in birdie range.
And that said, this is not an easy putt. Chris Clemens missed his birdie look and was able to make the comebacker, so he is at 17. He's eliminated from the potential playoff scenario. James has to have this find in bounds.
That looks like another putter shot, and guaranteed he was just trying to lay that up. He threw that to the exact spot he wanted to.
Less than 100 feet left for James Conrad here. Getting up and down seals the deal. Here's Nathan.
Lots of speed on that one there, and this green is a little weird. Sometimes it skips out, sometimes it doesn't, and just let that one slide across the line.
A little speedy with that mid-range. Here's Albert. Again, Albert Tamm also trying to find that 11 under par spot. He is currently 10 under par, but again, looking at a birdie, this putt for him will be for the invite back next year.
And that's a big happening. If you can get that automatic invite back without having to earn it next year, you're smiling and you know you're coming back and competing in the biggest tournament of the year.
And Eagle McMahon going to get the red flag from the spotters. Important to note that Albert Tamm If he can make this, that will be back-to-back USDGCs that he's qualified for at a major. So he is doing it when the pressure is the greatest.
And the competition is the greatest.
Conrad, just lay this up.
Caught a puff of chips there, and it looks to be close enough for him, but you want to see that one nestle right up there so you can just kind of drop it in there for the win.
Nathan.
Oh, a lot of action off the rim. And
look at him chasing it down.
Sit down.
You gotta love that. He does get the sit, and here's Albert. This is for the invite.
Big squat, solid, and committed.
He throws the grenade. Lobs the grenade onto the 18th green. Go get it, young man. What a putt in that scenario. Great solid putt for Eagle right there. Nathan Queen with the etiquette. And one more knee knocker for James Conrad. He only has one Pro Tour victory in his career. This would be for the biggest moment.
Not taking much time. It's in there.
Got it. The champagne bath from Weston Isaacs and Nate Perkins. Oh my goodness. James Conrad. Everybody calls it a lefty course. They say you have to have the forehand. He's neither, and he pulled it off. Some love there from your 2017 champ Nate Sexton, and my goodness, what have we just seen here?
Just goes to say, don't listen to the naysayers.
Congratulations, ton of emotions going on out there, and right now I'm sure, what are you feeling at this moment?
I'm a little bit in disbelief. It hasn't quite settled in yet. I'm super proud to have been able to take home the title today at the U.S. Championships. I joined such an amazing crowd of past champions, and yeah, just honored and ecstatic, pumped up, and like a little bit scatterbrained though, It's hard for it to have really all settled in yet. I'm sure it'll take a bit of time for me to really appreciate it.
Got scary, I think, for everybody else watching. Were you feeling scared let's not even get to 17 yet, but.
Yeah, I wasn't feeling too scared for most of the round. I just wasn't quite feeling as dialed in as I had been throughout the week. I'm not sure if it was like some pressure on a subconscious level maybe getting to me or what, but I think the wind also, it was definitely a lot breezier today. Most of the holes I struggled on were headwind kind of holes, and I hadn't really been throwing those shots all week, so I was flipping them over too much and wasn't quite getting that putt dialed in with a bit of breeze compared to what we had earlier in the week. And in 17 was not good. It shouldn't take me 3 tries to get on that island. It's been very seldom that I've missed the island, so.
Did you have a chance? Did you know going into 17 what the situation was, that those guys had just also had trouble there?
I did. Yeah, I was aware that I had 4. I had 4 going into 17. I considered laying up short and then shooting for the island, maybe playing for a 4, but I hadn't really practiced that second shot, and I was worried that from there I'd sail it into the water, and then I'm already throwing 2 out, 3 in.
First one goes out all right, you got a little bit to play with. Second one was when I really saw a lot of emotion out of you. What are you thinking at that time when the second one doesn't land?
I was thinking, dang headwind, but yeah, I don't know. I was trying to just focus in on the next shot, see what I need to do a little different. I threw a bit more stable of an AVR in the third go at it, and that was able to handle the breeze coming at us a little better.
All right, so one more thing then. Obviously, we talked before the round how you've been close. Mm-hmm. You've gotten over the hump now.
Yeah.
So what's this mean from here? Should we expect a lot more of these? Is this kind of like breaking open the dam, if you will?
Yeah, I sure hope so. I'm gonna keep coming after him. I'm gonna keep doing what I can, and yeah, I think I'll pick up some more.
And here are your final results. Again, James Conrad just one slim stroke of a margin of victory over Jeremy Colling and Nico Castro, and they would have loved one more opportunity to take this title down. Of course, your top 10 are automatic qualifiers for next year's USDGC. Champ, I just want to know what you think of James Conrad's game, of his performance this week. It was phenomenal in my opinion.
I love his game. It reminds me a lot of my game. Neutral throwing discs, not much of a long sidearm, but pretty much every other trick in the bag, and loads of confidence, and that's what you need to play well. It's a physical game, but it's also very mental. And if you're confident in your abilities, you will do well.
And you've heard it right here. That's it for everybody. Jamie and the Champ on SpinTV.